Hello and welcome back to Casey's Corner. Surprise! There's a face cam. I actually got one for Christmas, so yeah, lots of things have happened and I haven't been posting a lot recently, so I do apologize for that, but Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. I've had a lot of things happen in my life. I recently had to move, so, just personal life stuff. However, today we will be doing some things, of course, in The Sims 2. I did have a lot of requests to go over my spreadsheet, my gameplay rules, things like that. So I did want to go over that today, and as you can see, this is my sample valley tracking sheet for my custom hood. I do use the PleasantSims tracking sheet, and I can definitely link that down below. So yeah, honestly, this has come such a long way. Like, my custom hood has come such a long way. I recently went through a lot of my photos and I saw when I first began these rotations and when my custom hood first began, and it was back in 2022 that I started this custom hood. So it has been 4 years. So it's pretty crazy to me to think that I've been playing in the same hood for that long, but it's very interesting. I will be popping that
oh my god, bro,
photo somewhere in this video, so I will show you that right here. It actually was taken on Snapchat. I shared it with a friend or something, showing them where it began. But anyway, I'm very excited to get into today's video, and I hope you are too. Okay, so to begin, I will show you the tracking spreadsheet I use. I use PleasantSims tracking spreadsheet. You can get this off of her website. You just go to like Sims 2 downloads and you scroll down and there's the Sims 2 tools. I'm using the tracking spreadsheet, and yeah, it has a bunch of different stuff. Essentially what you would do is you would come over here, you would click on it, you get this empty spreadsheet, and then to be able to edit in it, you have to actually save a copy. And I have to remember, it's been so long since I've done this.
huh?
Make a copy. So you would make a copy, and then bam, now you're able to edit in it, and then now it's yours. You can rename this whatever you want, but this is her layout for her spreadsheet. And like for mine, I kind of took out some things, and I will show you that now. And then I did color code it as well. So we're just popping over here. This is my sample valley tracking sheet. I did rename it to Sample Valley, but as you can see, I have the season and how many days are left in the rotation. I have the household, the last name, the first name, the age, the zodiac, the aspiration, and the second aspiration. But I did add this section right here called traits, because I do use the trait system in my game, and I needed a way to be able to remember who my Sims are. So I track that here. I also have the lifetime wants, the careers, the level, their job. And then I have hobby and sub hobby. So I like the sub hobby system. I don't think it's bad, but I find myself kind of like being lazy with it. I think it makes sense that Sims being into fitness wouldn't just, jump on a treadmill or whatever. Maybe they would go jogging, or maybe they would, I don't know, do strength training, whatever. That makes sense, but it's just like I'm pretty lazy with that, so I can't really sit here and say that I like follow that wholeheartedly. So anyways, there's that. And then I do have the generation here, partner, and then I have notes. So a couple of notes that like for my Sims that, you know, maybe I'll like jump into the rotation months later and then I can remember what's going on with them. And then I have favorite music. I actually kind of added this one. I go into the game and I look at all the stations. I think there's like 18 of them or something, and then I just randomly roll a station, like on a random dice roller or something. Not dice roller, random number generator, and I'd be like, okay, that's their favorite music. I thought it like kind of gave me a reason to choose the other stations, because I tend to like stick to the stations that I like, but I want my Sims to be like more personal and have more personality. So there's that. As you can see, and I wish I did this, and I see a lot of people on YouTube doing this, they track what rotation they are on. I never did that, and I can't tell you what rotation I'm on. It's got to be over 10 now. It's been years, so I wish I did that, and I didn't, and so it hurts. But I'm like, that was such a great idea for people to do, so you can keep track of that. But anyway, so that's the overall setup for mine. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit just to show you. I have a lot of families, a lot of information, a lot of households, and I try to color code them just to like keep it separate, so like it just helps me visually see who's what. Yeah. And then if I scroll down, have a bunch of like these households, whatever, then I tend to like, if for example, if I have a teen going to college, I will just drag them like this down here to show that they're off at college. So like right now, one of my Sims, Riker, is at college. I just dragged him down here to show that. Some people do the university tracking and everything. Kind of lazy. So I just like drag them down here so I can keep their information and not have to like retype it or whatever. And then when they move back in, I just join them with a household or give them their own household. Down here, the orphanage is actually its own little thing, because I did want to still track it because I know that those Sims will become important one day. And it kind of is a rotation in my hood. But I didn't really want it with the rest of my households because it's kind of its own thing. That's it for that. I have a default tracker. I track my defaults for my game. So then right here, I needed a place to show like my gameplay rules. And I kind of come up with these as I go. So they're kind of like not really in order. So I just like jot down ideas for my game. So like, for example, my first gameplay rule is my Sims can't get their secondary lifetime aspiration until they are young adults. The reason for this is I think it makes sense. When your Sims are growing up, they really don't know who they are. They don't have all their traits. They're still learning things. So like, I feel like when they're young adults, they get all of their traits. You pretty much have a good idea of who they are at that point. And so by that point, you would probably know, hey, this is your secondary lifetime aspiration kind of thing. I kind of make it so it's like a self-discovery thing for when they become young adults. Elder Sims get 5 traits. I don't count lucky, unlucky, loser traits. If these Sims get these traits, that's just an extra trait. Some of the traits from Sims 3 didn't make sense. It's kind of like a placeholder, like lucky. I just felt like that's just like a extra trait. To me, it's not like it's just different. It's like if your Sim's clumsy, like that makes sense. Like that's a trait. But lucky is not really a trait. To me, it's just like an added asset. Like something that's like, it's just, to me, it's kind of like, oh, You were born to be lucky. You were born to be unlucky. You were born to be a loser. You were born to... What's another one? Just those like really odd like traits. I just think it like is just an additional trait. I don't know how to describe it, but I hope that makes sense. So adult elder Sims get 5 traits, teen Sims get 3, child gets 2, toddlers get 1. When Sims go to college at the end of the year, I divide the total money by how many Sims are in the household to keep track of money. I am not one to sit here and be like, okay, you got a scholarship, you got on the dean's list, you got this, this, and that. To me, I'm really lazy, so I don't do that. I just try to like divide the money themselves. And like, of course, I use the banking system, and like I do try to keep track of the money, but at the same time, it's like it can become a hassle, and I'm lazy, and sometimes I just want to sit down and have fun with my Sims. Like that's all I want to do is just play The Sims 2 and have fun. So I don't want to sit here and be like, you owe this and you need this and this is in your bank account and then you're supposed to get this amount. It's too much. So I just divide it in the household. I wouldn't think that college students would really have that much money anyway either, unless they're like super rich. Then I could justify that, but like, yeah, it makes sense to me. I used to let Sims do homework only if they rolled a want to. Now I loosely base it on their wants and what kind of Sim they are. I did see somebody on YouTube do this, where if your Sim has an interest in school, like a high interest in school, but they're not rolling the wants to do the homework, it doesn't make sense. Like if your Sim's super interested in school, they're more prone to like want to study, and that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, I kind of did it like that because like when your Sim never rolls that want, they never do their homework. You have failing Sims. And that's like, yeah, you know, it makes for better gameplay, but at the same time, I don't know, it just kind of gets like annoying after a while. I actually use a mod now that forces my Sims at 7 p.m. every day to go and do their homework. And so now what I do is I use that mod, but if my Sims are in a bad mood and they don't finish their homework from the previous day, I won't force them to do their homework. Maybe sometimes I will, but like most of the time, I'll be like, okay, you don't want to do your homework because you're tired? All right. And then it piles on for the next day. So at 7 p.m. the next day, they go to try to do it, they quit again. Then the next day, it just piles and piles and piles until my Sim actually does get bad grades. But that is inevitably the thing that is like kind of makes more sense to me. Is it makes more sense to me to do it that way, because it's like there's still a chance for them to fail, but it's like I don't have to sit here and like wait for that want to roll. So it's kind of like it works for me in my game. If the Sim reaches the top of their career, they may use the life elixir. If it fails, they cannot continue use. Okay, so I love when my Sims live forever, but I hate when their lifespans get off track with the other people in the town. So I really don't like using the life elixir. So I only made this as an exception because sometimes my Sims, maybe they need more time for something or whatever the heck, or I want them to live longer. I did it only like one time in one of my households, and yeah, so that's kind of like just an extra rule because I just kind of wanted to make it harder for myself, so like that I don't use it that often. I still don't use it that often even if they reach the top of their career, but yeah. If a life elixir succeeds, then they may continue use until it fails. Pretty self-explanatory. I use Cindy's system, but if I feel a Sim is more suited for a specific aspiration, then I will change that. Okay, so here it is. Basically, if your Sim is born in Aquarius, they will be like a family Sim. I loosely do this. I think it's a great idea, but at the same time, sometimes I kind of started like, depending on how I see that Sim. So like if for example, my Sim is, I don't know, an Aquarius, and they kind of grew up being more athletic and trying to like make and rolling the wants to make a lot of friends, and like they have specific interest in, like, I don't know, sports or whatever the heck. Maybe I might make them a popularity sim instead of a family sim. So like I base my Sims personality on what kind of aspiration they were going to be. If they're showing as a child that they are, I don't know, they like to read books a lot, they learn a lot of skills, they kind of keep to themselves, I might make them a knowledge sim. So I kind of loosely use the zodiac system, or the aspiration system that Cindy has, just depending on how my sims end up. I think it kind of like adds to that, you know? Like sometimes I don't want my Aquarius sim to be a family sim, you know? Sometimes I want it to be a little bit different. So that's how I do that. For uni students, all 4 years of college is one seasonal rotation. And look, I'm gonna be so real. This might even like mess up my aging. I don't really care. I could not figure out a way to sit here and be like, okay, well, I'll play for one semester with this sim and then I'll jump to this household, and it's too confusing, too much. And so I said, you know what? Let's make it easier on me. One rotation is one 4 years of college. So what I do is when my sims go to college, I play all 4 years of them in college. Then I play all my rotation, like I finish that whole rotation of my other households. And then when I'm done with that rotation, that sim that went to college and they graduated, they can finally move back. And so they will be their own household. So that's kind of how I do it. Because it's like one rotation is usually about, I think it's like 5 days. Makes sense for me. It's like, if you think about one day being 1 year, it kind of makes sense. So there's that. I also kind of am keeping track. I did start keeping track of my lots, my community lots, to try to see exactly what kind of lots I have. So I don't like do a bunch of duplicate, but I kind of pretty lazy with that. And then over here I have Three Lakes uni tracking. I use the 3 Lakes template from my university because I kind of want it to be like the university's in the mountains, and it's like lakes and like docks and like fishing and like just kind of that kind of atmosphere. Maybe like almost like when you go to Washington, like the Twilight. It's giving Twilight, like the atmosphere. So that's kind of like what I went for with their school. And this is supposed to be where I keep track of my sims. I'm lazy, so there's no sims over here. But as you can see, I built schools for specific hobbies, majors and stuff. So like, for example, I built a school of science and technology for my sims who likes science. And I kept track of that here just to show that, like, hey, you know, maybe my sim's an art major, maybe they like arts and crafts, you know, and so they'll go to the school of arts and they'll like study skills and blah 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 blah. So like things like that. It just kind of gave me another reason for my sim to not just be at the dorm all the time or just be at the house all the time. I tend to like, when I'm playing university, I tend to like have my sims just be at the dorm. I'm pretty boring, so it kind of gets really painful after a while. I just want to leave. Just want my sims to go back to the regular hood. But yeah, this is how I keep track of my households. Yeah. And then when I finish rotation, for example, I think I'm going into the summer rotation. So I will write summer and then I'll be like 5 days left. And then if I quit in the middle of that rotation, I'll be like, I'll just write how many days left I have in that rotation. So like, for example, the Dunn household has 4 days left in spring. So yeah, that is how I keep track of my families. So yes, that is how I track my custom HUD sample valley, and that's how I will be tracking future like let's plays and things like that. It seems to work pretty well. Yeah, I'm not like a stickler for being organized and like, oh, I have to do this and I have to keep track of finances and just like little details like that. That's fun, but like sometimes I just want to play and be like, oh, make some little notes. And like sometimes it just takes me a while to even update my spreadsheets. So like there's that as well. Like again, I'm a lazy girly. I just enjoy playing The Sims. I guess I'll get into just the end of the video. Why I even called Sample Valley. It's pretty uninteresting. The templates for the neighborhoods, like I literally just go off of that. So like there is a template for a neighborhood called Sample, and I literally go, okay, so what can I do? Can I call it Simplicity, which is going to be my city version of Sample Valley, which I actually have. I was going to call it Simplicity, but to make it sound like kind of interesting, and it does, but like Sample Valley was more like a neighborhood, and I didn't really want it to go and build too many lots and too many like city structures. I just think it's gonna get overloaded and a little bit too much. But I like the idea of doing like subhoods. So like I have my university town, I have a downtown. The downtown is just the EA default. I haven't really done anything with it. And then I just created the open for business subhood. So that's Simplicity. So that's going to be like a bunch of businesses, shops, things like that down there. So it's going to be like the city. But yes, that is where the name came from, Sample Valley. It's, like I said, pretty uninteresting. I'm not very creative when it comes to names. I also had a custom HUD before Sample Valley that I had to stop playing because I downloaded a bunch of different lots. I think I kind of messed up the save or my neighborhood. I don't think it's exactly corrupted, but it kind of seemed like it was going that direction. So I was like, you know what, just start fresh. That one was called Isle a Segundo, which is another template that EA released. So like I said, very uninteresting, but if you were ever wondering where the name came from, that's where it came from. And like, honestly, if I ever do another custom HUD, I will probably do the same thing. I'm very unoriginal, but yeah. So that's how I set up my tracking spreadsheet for Sample Valley. If you guys are interested in maybe me exploring my Simplicity, but eventually like I'm gonna build more, and then I will like, maybe I'll give it like a tour in the future. But I also have my university subhood thing going on, so I can also give a tour of that. I don't have very many lots there either. Also working on a vacation world. I'm very lazy with that too, so like I think I've not even built anything. So my Sims never go on vacation. They always roll once to go on vacation, but I kind of just wanted to make my own fresh lots because sometimes the EA like vacation lots are kind of boring. So yeah. So if you would like to see any of that, just let me know. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for recommending this video in the first place. Pretty boring, pretty lazy, but that's what The Sims is about enjoying the game. And you know what? As much as we love to track stuff and be some really organized girlies, we also should just enjoy the moment when it comes to our Sims. Be watching out for some more videos in the future. I'm gonna figure out how to upload some of my lots. I did see a lot of people say that they wanted me to upload some of my lots. I'm not the best builder, but it seems like you guys were very interested. So I will figure out a way to do that. I do use quite a bit of CC, so I guess if I package a lot, it would probably come with the CC, so I want to do that. But anyway, I will figure that out in the future, and maybe that'll be coming your way soon, but I'll let you know. thank you for watching, and please subscribe and like for more. See you next time. Bye.